Sixers fans, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Lawrence Arnell, and this is Sixers City, where, once again, Sixers basketball is the least interesting thing worth talking about right now. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in a position where the Sixers have just lost to the Grizzlies. They are now 1-4. There are 4 teams in the NBA Eastern Conference that are 1-4. It is the Sixers, and each of the other 3 teams are the teams that beat the Sixers. The Sixers combined for 3 of the wins of the 4 teams that each only have 1 win. It's absolutely atrocious. One bright spot when it comes to the Sixers record is that the Sixers are 1-4 while missing 2 of their 3 stars, while the Milwaukee Bucks are 1-4 with a healthy Dame and Giannis. I take solace in that. There's a lot to be said for, we got rid of Doc Rivers, we got a better coach. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know if God bless Nick Nurse, man. It still remains to be seen that he is the basketball wizard that he gets credit for, because he can't seem to get it done with the same tools that anybody else has been able to get it done with. There's some common denominators here, but that said, Sixers basketball is actually not what we're here to talk about today, guys. We are here to talk about Sixers fisticuffs, because from Sean today, got a tweet. 76ers Joel Embiid got in an altercation. Should have said got into an altercation, but got in an altercation with a columnist following tonight's game in Philadelphia. Embiid took issue with a recent column that referenced his late brother and son. Embiid shoved the columnist, no punch. Shams, I find it interesting that you needed to specify that there was no punch. I don't know that got into an altercation. I don't know that anybody just assumed that Embiid was punching a reporter in the locker room after the game. That's it. This tweet stems from obviously a column that was written about Joel Embiid by a Philadelphia Inquirer writer by the name of Marcus Hayes. For those of you who don't know who Marcus Hayes is, Marcus Hayes has a bit of a reputation for the spicy take on local athletes. He has pissed off his share of Philadelphia athletes in the past. Joel Embiid has been subject matter in the past, and Joel got fed up with it this time around. Hayes' column reads as thus: Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son, Arthur, as a major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great and leave a legacy. For the boy named after his little brother, who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76er. Well, it reads on, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. Embiid has been great at just the opposite. Now in his 11th season, he has consistently been in poor condition. This poor conditioning apparently seems to have delayed his debut this season. Embiid won't play in Wednesday's opener or the next 2 games. There is a lot of scuttlebutt going on around this article and Joel Embiid's response to it, which is reportedly that Joel Embiid teed off on this guy, shoved him while they were in the locker room after the game last night, and told him, listen, man, you say anything else about my family and you're going to see what I got for you, and I'm going to have to suffer those consequences. Joel Embiid, fully aware that there will be consequences for physical violence towards somebody for what they're writing, and I got a bit to say about this. First things first, I wish everybody involved were better capable of expressing themselves without like drawing. I don't understand why any of these people, Joel, Marcus Hayes, or even Shams in his tweet. Like I said, why did Shams have to specify that there was no punch? I didn't assume there was a punch when I read that this disagreement had took place. But I wish that everybody involved were just actually man enough to address this without coming to these emotional heights. Okay, Joel Embiid, his response to Marcus Hayes seems to be getting a lot of sympathy from a lot of dudes who clearly don't have any better conflict resolution skills than Joel Embiid himself. There is nothing about warning another man what you're going to do to him if he says anything that strikes me as A, intelligent, B, convincing, or C, worth the breath. Right? I'm from the old school. I'm from the school of, if I'm going to do something to you, I'm going to do it. Period. Those of you who know what I do for a living, listen. I'm in law enforcement. Period. All right. And I can tell you right now, I've heard many a dude tell me what he's going to do to me if I do another thing. Not one of those dudes has ever done it. Period. I grew up in North Philly. I've heard many a dude tell me he's going to do something to me if I keep doing another thing, if you keep doing another thing, and the dudes who say those things never do those things. So to hear Joel Embiid threaten Marcus Hayes with what he's going to do to him later on, it is not only unconvincing if he is telling the truth about what he's going to do to the man, it's actually kind of asinine that you put that out there. Now, the word on the street is, Joel was right. You don't bring up a man's family, because criticize his gameplay, criticize this, criticize that, but don't talk about the man's family. I'm not here to defend Marcus Hayes. All right? I don't know Marcus Hayes, and I don't have a dog in this fight. But I will say this. If Joel Embiid leverages his family publicly as his motivation to be a great player and do great things, when you fall short of that goal, it seems to me like it's fair game when people are criticizing you in that aspect. If you told me that your motivation was the money and you want to be a great player because this city has paid you almost $500 million to play basketball, but you can't stay in good enough shape, you can't stay healthy enough to achieve those goals, nobody would have a problem with criticizing you based on your motivation being the money. So if your motivation is your family and you leverage that publicly, you publicly introduce your family into the conversation, then when you're criticized, it's not unreasonable to think that somebody might leverage your family. Is it beneath me to do such a thing? Yes. But I'm not Marcus Hayes and I don't work for the Inquirer. So you have to question the people that you're engaging with here, right? I would not bring a man's family into the conversation because I understand that mouths can get punched in. It just is what it is. When you disrespect a grown, when you do something that another grown man might deem as disrespectful, you have to be prepared for the consequences of such things. And Marcus Hayes FAFO'd. Sort of. He kind of FAFO'd. Not totally, but he kind of FAO'd. He kind of and found out that he might find out later on. Maybe. I don't know. But either way, everybody here has some thinking to do when it comes to the way that they're deciding to communicate. Joel Embiid's got some thinking to do about how he handles being pissed off by another grown man, and Marcus Hayes got some soul searching to do about how he talk about grown men, because he might find himself dealing with like somebody who's a little bit more old school than Joel Embiid. Somebody who a little bit more old school than to be talking about what he gonna do versus doing what he gonna do. That said, I would like us to get a win and actually get back to talking about basketball, because right now we're talking about getting texts while on the bench and shoving reporters in the locker room, and we're not talking about how to get all of our stars on the court so that we can actually win some basketball games. I don't know. We got a couple dudes on our squad who have contracts totaling over about $500 million each, and we're not winning any basketball games. I could think about way more important things than what this man said about that man that all of these guys could be concerning themselves with right now. You could be concerning yourselves with winning basketball games. And until then, people gonna talk, bro. People are gonna talk. So thank y'all for joining me on this episode. If you like the content, do me a solid. It's buttons down there. With the buttons, do your thing. Share the content. Come back next time. In the meantime, do yourself a favor. Get close to God. And whatever you do good first. All right? Peace.